back to the Fanboy TV Operation Supply Drop 8-Bit Salute. We've been going since midnight. Had a lot of fun so far.
Not midnight. We've been going way.
Yeah, we were here way because we had to set up in this massive studio, and I think it came together really, really, really well. Actually,
not well. It came together really. It was amazing. Actually.
Yeah,
amazing.
And so we've been having all sorts of fun. And the Nerf guns just don't stop.
So what happens when I shot you and then you came at me like craziness? Now
he knows what'll happen to him later.
Oh, okay.
See, we all have to do this all the time. They're
I'm gonna throw the mic at you if you really shoot me with that.
So we're here with Operation Supply Drops. Steve's here with us. Tell us a little bit about Operation Supply.
So Operation Supply Drops supports our troops all around the world by building and sending video game care packages to our soldiers, UK, Australia, any country. We also do soldiers that have been wounded in combat, stationed in hospitals. We also have a few programs that give back as well. Our thank you deployments for soldiers that have been severely injured. We take them out and have VIP treatment in our expos, PAX South, PAX Prime, and then we have a new program called the Teams, which is we take about half veterans, half civilians, and we go out and have fun. It's called mandatory fun, and we want them to relax, have a good time, and just hang out with us.
Do you like my idea that you guys should do a giant ball pit for them?
Dude, yes. I like that. Dude, I love that, but I'm afraid I'm not going to even get out because
nobody wants to ever get out of a ball pit. It's a ball pit.
See, we're not censored. We're censored right now, so I won't say anything.
Later on, though, I'll guarantee you it'll be on. So, up next, we're going to do a little bit of an extended segment. We're doing a video game roundtable because you guys primarily deal with video games, and video games have come a long way. We've been talking about that off and on throughout the day. So, Pocky is going to be leading with a whole slew of people to be talking about all sorts of video game topics and just why they're so important the way they are.
I think video games are important in all ways as well, helping with soldiers and PTSD therapy, and, it's helped me, and I can't wait to hear what these guys have to say about it.
So don't forget there's a link you can follow. It's going to be this way.
This way. All right, guys.
So follow that link. You can find out more about them and how you can help. We are going to be giving away an Xbox 360 brand new with a game and a hard drive because he wants to throw in a hard drive.
I'm feeling spunky.
So all you have to do is make a donation, and you're entered into it. We're doing that at the end of the hour. We're userrandom.org to pick who wins it. And if we make $500, oh boy, here's going to eat a dead cockroach we found today. And if we make $1,000, he's going to drink his own urine. So let's cut over to Pocky and the video game roundtable.
Give away this Xbox 360. If you give money during this hour, you will be put into a raffle to win this. It's awesome, it's beautiful, and it's last generation and known to work.
It's not PS4 though.
Well, you know what?
Or a PS3.
Yeah. Well, it's a system and you get it for free.
It's an Xbox.
Right.
It's can't complain.
Yeah. All right. So as Gavin said previously, that this is going to be a segment about hold on a second. There it goes, back on. We are going to be talking about the importance of video games. We all know that a lot of it has changed and moved forward. It has helped people with Operation Supply Drop. It's also helped with various other places. But we're going to be going to a little bit more personal level. So, all of you, I only had a couple mics, so everyone gets to share, except for me. I get to keep mine because I'm the judge.
You're the bully.
I am a horrible, horrible bully. So, here's subject one. No, don't shoot the table right now.
Please don't shoot the table.
Yeah. Here's subject one. How has gaming changed you as a person? And how has it made you as a person?
I'll take it away. It's made me who I am. In many ways, the socialization of playing games back in high school, of setting up LAN networks and trying to play and hook up whatever technology we could and try to figure out just how to play these games on another level, turned me into the kind of person that wanted to learn more about how the games were made and then in turn make games. I was in the Army, and it was a huge part of our pastime was playing games, especially whenever we're deployed. Any chance you can get when you have downtime, you're trying to do something that one, keeps you out of trouble, and two, passes the time. And so video games are a great outlet for soldiers as well as just a lot of people to kind of feel like you're back home. And so Operation Supply Drop is just an awesome program, because whenever I was deployed overseas, getting a care package full of games for my brother or something, that was the coolest thing I ever. I think it's just video games are they hit really close to home with a lot of people, and so it's a great therapy and a great pastime. And then even more so, being here in Austin, we have such a great thriving video game industry. It becomes a great secondary career for a lot of people transitioning that have a hard work ethic and want to learn more about the things that they love. So.
By the way, so in case somebody who doesn't know who you are, because you are the only person in this group who hasn't yet been on camera.
Hi, I'm Finn Staber. I'm a game developer. I'm a programmer designer at Portalarium here in Austin. I also teach Unity in game development and at UT in Austin and ACC and Art Institute. I teach workshops, and I also go around to a lot of high schools and middle schools and elementaries and talk about game development and my time in the Army and kind of that transition of how I became, from a professional soldier to a student full-time to then a professional, in the civilian sector. And so, it's just fun, and video games are a hot topic that people like to listen to. So when you're speaking to kids about game development and continued education, or veterans or, wounded soldiers about video game education and stuff, and how they actually have an opportunity to get in there and make the games that they already had a passion for, I've seen that give a lot of people really strong hope that they can have a really successful career regardless of what your background.
Cool. All right, other side of the table.
If I can say, Nathan here again.
Move the mic.
What I wanted to say was, as someone who's owned a console, and both in every generation, but so far the PS4 and the Xbox One, and then all the handhelds and a Mac and a PC at different times. It occurred to me that each system and each generation, I've watched more and more people come into the being fans, being fans of video games. The conversation get more deeper in nature, talking about legitimately talking about that, talking about how they can do therapy for different kinds of situations. I even went through biofeedback therapy at one point using a video game, using a controller that NASA developed to use with astronauts on the PS2 with racing games that did a biofeedback loop. And you went faster or slower depending upon how well you matched up your wavelengths to the therapeutic wavelengths. And so I've found that as far as video games make me as a person, it's been a common thread that's I've just found you can talk to anyone about whether they own a system or not, or a good computer or not. They'll have something to say about video games at this point. And it's just such a great conversation starter. And for me, a great outlet to meet new people and to help me grow as a person.
All right.
Yeah, that's very true.
So, all right. So this side again, I'm going to go back and forth a little bit. So you guys got how video games changed you? How it made you the person you are now?
It's turned me into kind of a better leader. I run a guild on Proudmoore, and I've been in there for 2 years, and it's just taught me so much about patience and things like that. I mean, that began even before I was the leader on Proudmoore. That, and it's turned me into a better writer. It's also opened me up to different cultures and just a different way of thinking to my mind. Granted, I'm also very, very sleepy, so...
Also got you a husband.
Yeah, also got me a husband, only that was... Well, should we count non-video gaming?
Well, I mean, we counted everything else, sure.
Yeah. He got me a husband because we met through pen and paper role-playing.
Yeah, and we also played other games, so yeah. And I also played WoW with you, so yes. So
yeah,
yes, we got married.
Gaming just taught me to be a better critical...
I know.
Hey. Yeah, it taught me to be a better critical thinker too. I mean, not that it shows right now, and I'm going on 4 hours of sleep now at this point.
Yep.
I have no idea how much time I've had down.
All right, you guys.
Well, I think games have definitely made me a better person in some really, really unique ways. There's something about having a challenge in front of you that you know is overcomable that I think actually makes people better problem solvers, in addition to it gives us the ability to create goals for ourselves in other portions of our life. And I know a lot of people think that there's, a stereotype of, socially inept people that enjoy video games, but it has honestly made me a more sociable person. I would not have gone halfway across the world for anything. I prefer to sit, on my little couch, surrounded by my little computers and consoles. But at the same time, I also wanted to meet some of the people that have made the hobby that, has entranced me from age 7 to age 27. And yeah, so I wouldn't have been able to go out and do those things had I not been so passionate about and, addicted to video games.
Yep.
Josh.
Clyde.
I don't care which one of you talk, but you better talk.
That will be me.
Okay.
Well, that's taught me how to explode helicopters, kill escorts. Thanks, Grand Theft Auto. I'm just kidding. But it really has changed me. Actually made me the guy who I am today because I recently graduated in networking last year in school. And that goes all the way back into emulators. I was first taught about emulators on computers through this guy. And when he showed me emulation on video games, I was like, oh, Jesus, I want to learn how to do this. And from there, I started emulating games. And then from there, I evolved to getting into computers, becoming a network. I know it has nothing to do with games, but thanks to gaming, I'm into computers.
No, there's a clear path for you. Yeah, that makes sense.
Networking, though, we don't have the communication that we have now.
Yeah, online gaming, like you said, but it's made me the guy I am today. Plus, just like you guys, your love story, I met my fiance Mariah, who I'm going to marry this August.
Aw.
Thanks to Guitar Hero. I was modding Guitar Hero, the songs, because they had this site where you could change the songs and put even more harder songs. And through it, that's how we got together. And she got like a Guitar Hero tattoo and everything because of it. But yeah, it's made me who I am today because of it. I think.
Now myself,
Mike.
I am a combat vet. I am disabled. I suffer pretty severely from PTSD.
Okay.
Gaming has been a huge way for me to let that stress off.
Hold on. I'm just gonna.
Run it up a little.
I'm
not a very loud-spoken guy. I apologize.
No, it's all right.
good.
No, these mics are older than if we combine about 2 of these people in this room, I don't think these silly people the age of these mics. So
You can actually see the date on some of them.
yeah, some of them are like 1976, 75.
Wow.
69 over here, maybe.
I'm not even that old.
Yeah, I was 78, so yeah, that's
But
why.
yeah, I mean, it's changed. I mean, it's allowed to come out of my shell. I was stuck in a bubble when I came home. I didn't want to interact with people. I didn't want to leave my home. And Mr. Giddings over there is trying to make us all have a good time. But I mean, it's
serious, man. For me, come on.
it's literally made me out to be able to communicate, to be able to talk to other people.
All right.
Yeah, you know, I think that's a great point. You know, for me, I try to speak to a lot of groups of whether it's kids or vets or soldiers, active, whatever. You know, whenever I'm talking to people, and whenever you talk about video games, you know, it does allow you to kind of come out of that shell because you forget about the other stuff because it's a great waste of time. It's a great time spender, and so therefore, whenever you're busy with something, but then you reference video games, it's almost like cool. Now we're talking about video games, and it's like a fun thing. That's why I like going to game jams and stuff, is because that first day is all about like brainstorming and having ideas for like what do we want to make for this game jam. Oh, it's a robot zombie fighter, you know, whatever. And so you come up with all these ideas, and that's one way for a lot of people that you know can come out of their shell, and then as well, just like just at these game development events, these conferences and stuff like that. You know, I see vets especially, you know, that you know they. I was also in the Middle East a couple times during the war, and the first thing I would do is I had a driver's license for like everything, and so I would go and dig a hole with a backhoe, and then go get a forklift and drop a huge Connex down in there and cover it up with sand and make a bunker. But then we'd build a little frame in there with like 2x4s and plywood and make a little entertainment center so we could hook up our video games and stuff and have them in there just in case we were like, well, if we're going to go down in there and have to sit there for 2 hours, a corner
gonna
of
have
that
something to do
bunker
down
is going to
there.
have a video game system in it. So
Darn straight it will.
very quickly, the Nintendo 64 was the only thing that worked anymore. After like a month, it was the only thing, you know. You still had to,
PlayStation 2.
like old school Nintendo, you know. And it was, but it, you know, and we went through multiple other consoles. But you know, I remember vividly playing 4 players. Split screen GoldenEye on a 13-inch TV and like, and getting so. I mean, we were good, you know, because we just hammered that same game over and over and over, and then we got back, and I think Halo had just come out, or Halo 2 or whatever, and I remember getting back. My buddy bought a big screen TV and playing Halo, and the graphics are too good, like it's too colorful and it's moving too fast, you know. And it was
frame rates. Oh my god, it is frame rates.
But to touch on that point is that, like, you know, whenever we were in a hairy situation, if we had the ability to plug in a game, and even the people that are just watching playing a game, it allows you to just kind of release what is going on in reality,
back to reality,
and kind of just relax, and like, or chalk it up to like, whether I'm worried or whether I'm not, it doesn't really matter. So might as well have fun and play video games.
How it should be.
Hey, Josh, your turn.
I know, I'm last by design.
Yes.
Because I'm evil that way.
No, you're not evil.
You're
I'll
only
just talk
partially
forever.
evil.
You gotta like interrupt me.
Hush.
Hey,
The hat is a very silly hat.
It's an Imperial officer's hat.
Yeah, it looks very silly on you.
what do I do?
I think it might go away now.
What do I do? I'm letting people know that time's up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, so video games and how they've changed me and everything.
Yes.
It's like a gateway drug to everything else I'm into now.
We met through games because of work.
And then I met you through games.
You met me through. Yeah, it's for various
The
reasons.
entire reason I even got into board games is pretty much video games and comics and everything else I'm into now.
Yes.
Yeah.
And everything else. Yeah, it made you.
That's pretty much it's made me interested in so much more because I played the game and I wonder like, how'd that happen? Now I read the
Kinda
comic
makes you-
about it.
Yeah, and then you read a little history because you watched something else. Yeah.
And then I'm into it. It's like, yay.
Get a taste for classic rock because he's playing Rock Band or something. Yeah.
That's where I learned like all of my classical rock songs from, is Guitar Hero.
That is true. I learned so many bands.
I kind of grew up with them.
Same here.
I encountered a kid once talking to him about history, and he'd gone and learned all about Saladin and Richard after playing, the Crusades, after playing Assassin's Creed. And I was like, yes.
That is awesome. Greek mythology, God of War.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're going on a lot of subjects here, and we've touched on a lot of things. So, how do you guys feel as gaming? How do you feel as gaming as an art form has been moving? I mean, we're talking gaming is an art. I think we pretty much all of us will sit at this table. We're all nod our head in agreement. So, how do you guys feel it's changed? I mean, we've got everything from. I mean, even looking back here in this corner, we've got arcade cabinets up here. Everything's moved forward. Heck, you've got multiple games. You guys have either made. I know a couple of you here have made games. Or making even a GUI system for a game. It changes. So, I mean, how do you guys feel gaming as an art form has changed? Or is it changing too, actually?
Well, it's just the amount of detail we can actually show nowadays.
Yeah.
I mean, there's also the storytelling and things like that. I mean, to me, most video games are incredibly beautiful. Like, my favorite game right now, surprisingly, is Far Cry 4. Because you've got an incredibly complex character in Pagan Min, and just that whole situation in Kirat that just intrigues me as a player. It's not something I've seen recently. I love Pagan Min, even though I know he's a complete psycho. And
some Jack even.
You should
Or I
always
guess the
respect good villain.
Oh, I love a good villain, and Pagan Min is definitely one of those. Unless you play through it through the 15-minute ending, which is another thing why I love Far Cry 4. Have you seen the 15-minute ending?
Yes, let's shoot some bleep guns.
Yes, that was pretty awesome. That's
Because
when
he
I fell
actually
in
treats
love.
you as a human being, too.
Oh, yeah.
That was kind of
It's a very incredibly complex background for a game that you could just toss away as just another foreign shooter, pretty much. And to me, that's incredible. There's kind of a double-edged sword here going on, though, because we've got so much artistry and good development going on. We end up getting some pretty interesting games in the sake of art, like certain ones that have made headlines recently. Like, yeah, I'm not going to mention them. Mm-hmm.
Yes, that one. We all know about that one.
Yeah, I know.
So, moving, you guys, because like I said, if someone talks, one of the table gets it.
I just love the breadth of experience that we're seeing lately as the tools to create games themselves become more and more accessible. We're just starting to see. I don't know, I feel like gaming is kind of almost in like this indie rock movement where there's just all these people who are like, well, yeah, we've been seeing that, but we're going to do this right now, and it's something that you really haven't seen before. And it's not something that's just happening in America. It's not in any particular location in the world. There's so many small teams from Europe and Asia, and that you just get these entirely different experiences that I would have never thought about. Like, I love Papers, Please. I thought that was great. Like, who would have thought about a game that's about the immigration? I never would have thought of that, but somebody was like, wow, let's do
or
that.
a certain game about American democracy.
Yes.
But I mean,
If
you
it
also
moves, shoot it down.
You wanted to
feel
fist
lame
bump
now.
him, Broforce.
Oh, yeah.
Broforce. But at the same time, it's like, I agree. What I was going to say was we're also experiencing a great time where small studios like, Devolver Studios is all like, you said worldwide. I mean, everyone thinks Asia or Europe or, America, but South America is pretty. Yeah, Broforce is from South Africa, and they were an awesome group.
Apparently they missed
And
everything up to
they
the
have people
GameCube.
develop that studio. That studio is actually a satellite broken up. They're everywhere. So and they actually have developers here in Austin as well.
They do.
Austin's a hot spot for art and gaming, both in those creations. And I see art as it's kind of interesting because we went through game development as like everything that would come out was something new and trying to push the envelope. Remember when Final Fantasy came out? It was like they're trying to make it as real as possible. Now it's getting to the point where like, well, we've seen as real as possible.
Let's go
But
backwards.
now let's hit that old nostalgia, cool video game. Let's make Descent, or let's make the Ultima, successor, or let's make Wing Commander successor, make Star Citizen, and people are really behind that because they remember what it looks like. And it's funny because when I saw the Descent Kickstarter, it starts with this awesome ship coming through this, this subterranean tunnel, and it comes over and it shifts and then it shoots down. I was like, yeah, Descent. I remember that's how it looked, like the yellow ship and stuff. And then it showed, and it was like, yeah, we're remaking, we're making the successor to Descent. And then it showed original Descent. I was like, wait, that's what it's all basic, and blocky.
Yeah, you were like, I don't remember.
But we're seeing that type of art also going back towards within VR. We have these new VR space, and it's a whole new genre and platform. It's a whole new platform that's arising that. Because of the limitations on the mobile devices that they're on, the art has to be much simpler, and so we're seeing then people being able to only have the poly count and shader type capabilities of, say, a GameCube, for memory quality on the device, and then what can you do with that? Now you have some cool shader stuff, but it definitely affects frame rate, and so that becomes part of it. So like video games is all about art versus frame rate, because you could just crank it up and have awesome stuff, but if it takes a long time to render that scene, then you have to cut back. So it's like, what can you do to balance that? Like, I would say probably the most artistic game of our last generation was Just Cause 2. I love that game. It
That
was
game
just
was
an
amazing.
amazing game, and Just Cause 3 is about to come out. I read an article about how they came to do the new process, and basically they took the team down to Peru to like look through the jungle and like study and stuff at different times. And when they took the graphics programmers down there, they were like, kind of bored, and like, so they got together and hashed out this idea for the way that trees and art and stuff will envelop as you come into the game. So it's like an LOD system, but it also manages all the tessellation and fractal breaking of everything. So everything's destructible. All the things have mortar strength based upon the material. And as you get closer to a tree, a vine comes in. If you shoot the tree, it splinters, but the vine, falls down the side, and the concrete wall behind it shatters like concrete, and those kind of things to build into that, those kind of things is like you have engineering coming out with new ways of doing art, and when you see that kind of stuff, it's just awesome. And especially with like VR, you have these experiences that you could never have on a 2D screen, so you're able to have things with just simple particle effects. Makes it just amazing, like some things you've never seen before.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah.
One of the things that I wanted to say about it as art was that, as I said, one of the first games I ever played was the original Mario Brothers. I mean, not Super, the original Mario Brothers, and Donkey Kong, and all those old school arcades. And even back then, there was a quality of astounding, just wow, I'm playing graphics. I'm playing a movie, as primitive as it was, and the more beautiful it gets, it gets more immersive, but it calls to question. Once you've established it as a medium, how do you make it an art? And to me, what hallmarks it to me is, for those who've heard of it, the Suikoden series from Konami. I had an aunt and an uncle who are very into indie movies, indie music, novels. I mean, they're very artistic people. They write and professionally. And I went ahead and showed them the opening sequence to Suikoden 2. I showed them a bit of the game, and they were like, if I don't know the first thing about this medium, I don't know anything about it, but that was amazing. That was I'm totally into this now. And to see them recognize it as this is a story told through a graphic medium that is uniquely responsive to your interactive commands. I mean, just the description there, makes video games sound so cool as an art form, And I think that as we go further into it, and we get this retro movement, you begin to see games. I saw one the other day that was an old school text art, like ASCII RPG, like Zork and stuff. But it was done in a modern engine, but it still was all ASCII. And yet you could tell a really compelling narrative that way with just all the text you could flow in, but you could have all the modern combat systems you want in it that are turn-based. And so the potential is for them to be art is, to me, almost just being tapped into, even now.
Okay. But before I get back to you guys, I have a question for you, real fast about this. While we're talking about art, you guys keep talking about the retro movement. Is it the graphics that make it an art form, or is it the story that's making it an art form? And we'll get back to the original, but I want you guys to think about that because we're going to go to part 2 of that. So on this side, we've already had you two, so it's you two. Josh, you went last time, so you get to go next this time.
Woo!
I know, right? Do it.
I think the biggest thing that makes it the art form around is it's the compelling storytelling they have. And we're giving games like Just Cause, which is just a great B movie. I mean, seriously, you fight
Over the top.
the boss, the final boss of the game, riding atop nuclear missiles.
Yep.
And that was just great. And then you get games like Just Cause and Spec Ops: The Line that just kind of
White
draw
Phosphorus
you
is your
in.
friend.
God, I felt so bad at the end of Spec Ops: The Line.
But then you...
Willie P, huh?
Yeah. And, this guy stole bread and this guy shot civilians. It's like, what? How do I choose?
Yeah, it's if those who haven't played Spec Ops: The Line, it's based off the novel that started Apocalypse Now.
Yeah, and it was...
The Heart of Darkness.
Yeah.
It's based off that, and in that game there's a wonderful moment where you're not sure if the main villain is talking to the character or the player, because he doesn't refer to either of them by name.
Yeah, and...
So you wanted to play a hero, huh?
Yeah, I wanted to
Which
play
is
a
how that
hero.
line starts. So you wanted to play a hero.
And then you get like things that like experiment with different types of futuristic locales. Like we get Fallout, which is like all retro futures, and then we get BioShock,
Which is past, future, yeah.
yeah, and then you get Columbia and BioShock Infinite. There's just it's the setting and it's the story, and they're just experimenting with things.
So,
Your next line.
We've all gone.
Well, I always,
did you guys?
Mhm.
Oh, wow. Did you get
First
both?
one.
Oh, yeah, okay. So, it's weird because I have this odd number, so sorry.
This is a different
This
question,
isn't an
though.
odd number.
But this is
Yeah.
a different question now.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
No, it was the original question was still sticking. I was saying to ask you to think about that.
Oh, well, for me, it's, I guess, the storytelling. I mean, you could have a game with crappy graphics, but if the story is good, man, you'll get hooked on. And I learned
yeah,
that,
yeah.
and I learned that through Borderlands, the first one. Man, when I saw those graphics, like the whole cell type of graphics, I'm like, this game's gonna suck. It's gonna do bad. I went ahead and gave it a shot. I was completely addicted to it. The story was great. I loved it. And then part 2, Handsome Jack. Seriously, Handsome Jack is the
I felt
best
bad for killing him.
villain.
Then you get to you get prequel and pre-sequel, and it's even more interesting.
Yeah, but
Like, I didn't even kill Pagan Min in Far Cry 4.
But yeah, to me, it's the storytelling.
Those players.
Don't judge a book by its cover.
Well, but actually,
For me.
I have to ask you this real fast. Do you think, and I ask you all this, guys, this question, with this one, and because you brought this up, that the graphics threw you off, but when you got to the story, it worked. Does the graphics to you, like with Borderlands 2 and the pre-sequel, it's cel-shaded. It kind of looks kind of cartoony. The characters themselves are very
Stylized.
Stylized.
I mean, you
Over exaggerated, stylized. You got a guy who's literally 97% biceps. His name is literally Brick. I mean, come on. Do you think that the graphics, like Shovel Knight or Mega Man or Borderlands or any of these games, like Silent Hill even, does the graphics, when it matches, does that make it better? Like, if you told a dead serious movie and everyone would look like a SD anime characters with eyes this big, but you're telling Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, does that really work? Not probably really, but you guys think the graphics and the...
I think it's really important. If you have basic graphics, you can still make it work in a very compelling and compositionally artistic manner. You can have simple composition with, but still make it very epic. I mean, I remember playing Shadows of the Colossus on PS2 and just being amazed, this is the future.
So
And
you
I
have to
look
play
at
it
it
again?
now; it's great. And the PS3 they did a remastered version, but I was like.
Yeah.
I don't need it. I can play the PS2 one and dig it. I was like, I wish I had this on my phone. I mean, it's that kind of game, and it didn't. I mean, they had PS2 had limited capabilities of rendering a high amount of stuff, but they made it work. They made it work really awesome.
All that bloom with 4 megs of RAM. I don't know how it worked.
Another thing that was really cool about.
The mic.
Oh, I was just interjecting.
No.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say I think it's important, to match the two, but a little interjection I'd like to make is that the music matters.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, it does.
If you're going to include music at all, and not including it matters too.
Yeah.
But all, to me, as a fan of history, art really begins with music.
Yeah.
It's the oldest form of it there is, and there's something primal about that can drive a narrative even without, because Shadow of the Colossus and Ico were there was almost no dialogue in the entire game, but when you had that sweeping score as you climbed up the back of the monster, it was just like, oh my god, I feel like a king, I mean, I feel like I can do anything, people often overlook the musical scores of these things, and I think there's a real element to music and sound that completes the work, I think it's got that power.
I was going to say also, I think the lack of soundtrack. Half-Life 1 was actually just pointed out to me. Half-Life 2 actually also got pointed out this to me. There's only a total of 20 minutes of music in that entire game.
Wow.
That's the whole thing. If you play it, it's like the music only shows up when it's appropriate. The rest of the time, it's the ambience, it's the noise, whatever's going in the environment.
Yeah, and that feeling of emptiness and eeriness and aloneness is important to the narrative too.
Mm-hmm. I download
Speaking
soundtracks.
of
Just listen to
Alone,
them.
we're talking about art and sound and the graphics. What about Thomas's Alone? That's just simple quadrangles and a couple of other polygons. Really beautiful narration and a beautiful score, and it's one of the best games out there in terms of narrative and just gameplay. I still need to finish it, but I was entranced for it because it's just beautiful narration and things like that. Going on about the sound, I'm like, well, yeah. have a really good game that you could literally play this on like a first generation iPhone, and it being considered one of the best games out there, and you get some really good high end AAA games like some recent Assassin's Creeds, and it's like, yeah, it's beautiful, but where's the substance? So it's just kind of that going
there's
on.
A lot of
it was called popcorn filler movies. We've talked about movies before this, and someone goes, "It was a popcorn filler movie." I mean, can we? We're gonna get to everyone else, but yeah, I'll save this question for a little bit thing. But that was actually a really valid point. I mean, so.
Yeah.
I just like the fact that there's. I'm always a fan of art that I feel like somehow brings me back into my world or lets me see my own world in a way that I didn't already. I just think that it's absolutely amazing. Like, say when I was playing Shadow of the Colossus, like I would see that shadow move across the ground and know that there's something up there, like where the real-time lighting actually helps me be in that environment quite literally. Like, and I go outside and I'm like, I can see like little animals and things because of the way that I'm used to looking at the world now from going through that. And those are always my favorite experiences as far as art goes.
Yeah.
I would say one more time that augmented reality is also something to that we're seeing is art is what drives it. Typically you're not even listening to it, so you lose the ability to even have simple tones on acting with things. So especially when you're having interactive augmented reality, but it allows you to place art into the real world. It allows you to place digital art into the real world, through a screen or through a projected light field, with like some smart glasses or something. And I think that also adds a lot of avenue, in a museum where you can, be at the T-Rex exhibit and you look at the image target and now you're, looking at the T-Rex walking through the museum, or you're trying to catch the dodo bird or something, and whack it with a stick or something. And, I would also say there's a big art form to the outlying thing, the outlying compositional stuff that has to do with video games. Documentaries on video games, conventions with huge banners of the game that's coming, all the peripherals that have to do with that playing the game that don't actually have to do into game development, but coverage of game development, X-Play, and these awesome shows. Now we're finding gaming as an actual profession. Like, people are getting $1 million to be a pro gamer, and so like, but when we were kids, it was like a joke. Like, well, you can be a game developer, you can't be like a professional gamer. But now it's like, no, I'm going to make some money. I'm going to be a pro. People pay them, and they're on a team. But and then on the other side of that, how they present that. What makes a great tournament, esport game? It's actually the spectator mode tools. Like Call of Champions, the new one by Spacetime Studios here in Austin. They're making an awesome. That's an awesome esport MOBA, but the work that they put into the intricate spectator mode allows you to do all these things that would allow you to show off what's going on in the game. And I think that's one of those things. It's like it creates, there's that artistic need to provide coverage in a good, appealing way. So it's kind of interesting to me seeing all the peripherals of the game development industry that still have to do with art.
Now back to what you were asked, the original concept here.
How do you feel this game is an art form?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no.
Oh,
where you asked us to elaborate.
Yeah, sure.
On our opinions. I can play a game that has the worst graphics on the planet, as long as there's a story. The story, in my opinion, is the most important part of any game. So if you can trap me in your world, you'll hook me forever.
I think I could say one of the moments where I knew a game was going to stick with me for a while was hearing Ron Perlman give the great line, war never changes. And then you just like, then he explained the apocalypse. And it was like, yep, I'm playing this game for a while.
200 hours.
Yeah, but I got. Okay, so we've got a little bit of time left, so I'm going to skip a couple questions here because you guys are awesome. We have to do this more often. But I'm going to ask, and because we've only got like 7 more minutes, where do you guys see gaming go as a future? Since I've got, like I said, I got 2 programmers, I've got some spectators, I've got people who do charity work and whatnot. So we're gonna see where this goes.
The future of gaming, wearable technology is off, and peripherals and haptic feedback and stuff, I think is very big. We've been seeing some of the games, on consoles. They have some haptic feedback with vibration and stuff. But as we're seeing wearable technology be both really awesome and more affordable, we're going to see that branch out to the mass market. With Leap Motion and Kinect being able to now hook up just to a normal PC. We're going to be able to see more people develop with it and more people developing with the latest new technologies. And that's, as we've seen, as we see in here in Austin, everybody's looking to see what's the newest next thing. So therefore, when the newest next thing becomes really, really awesome, like the HTC Vive VR headset, which tracks you and you have VR, it removes all nausea, and so it allows you to do these crazy things with locomotion and doing all these other things. So it opens up what otherwise was closed in VR, And at the same time, as we get better haptic technology or jackets or a real power glove, that functions as we would love it to, I think we're going to see. I think that's going to be part of the stuff that we're going to see awesome AAA games envelop into is the VR space. That's one for. Definitely the next couple of years we're going to see explode. Probably is going to have the fastest growth of any platform is going to be VR because it's profitable and it's just cool. Everybody wants to try it, right? So. All right.
I personally don't want to try it just because of the whole overseas aspect.
Yeah, well, but
I'm not putting anything over my eyes.
Which is actually a great thing for the smart glasses where you're seeing through it, and then a projected light field is just being applied to it, so it looks like a floating screen, or it doesn't put blinders on
but
it.
As
People
long
put
as you
that
don't
on.
Blind me.
Yeah,
we'll be fine.
Just think of it as a ViewMaster.
Well, in that case,
Click. Click.
well, going with that, we're also probably going to see more advancements in something you mentioned earlier, augmented reality. We've already got games like Ingress making heavy ground, or you know what I'm trying to say there, making headway with development in that area, and apparently Ingress is pretty darn popular and pretty big in a lot of areas. We're probably going to see more games like Ingress where you're out in the wild with your smartphone or your tablets and you're just going to click.
What I wanted to say is, I don't know if it's really as much the future, but I don't know if it's as much the future, but I really, as I mentioned before about the biofeedback therapy, because I am bipolar, I have a lot of anxiety issues as well, and it was so fun to be able to play a racing game and go faster or slower based on your own brain's wavelengths, to sync you up. I guarantee you I wanted to win that race. But the application of video games as a therapeutic tool or as an academic study or as an educational tool is something I think has been always overlooked, and I think is something that's going to come back into style. I'm not saying we're going to see Mavis speak and teach us typing again. But we will
see. Just see the power, speaking type and the power glove in one debate. I'm not feeling good about this.
But we will see. I want to see games that encourage, going out in the world like Ingress. I think that's going to be a big thing. Games that help people with different disorders and things like that, because it's an interactive media and it's got the chance to really go places that draw in and then enhance, like the VR and stuff. And I'd really love to see it applied to, simulations and therapy a lot more. I think that's a future prospect.
Yeah, we only got a couple minutes left. Real fast, you guys.
So, that is kind of a long shot, but I'd love to see some of the new stuff that we have coming out, like the VR and the touch screens and the little motion sensors be applied to actual, strategy games. We're seeing it being applied to, first-person shooters and flight sims and everything else, but You remember anybody remember when N-War came out and it had a table in the trailer where you could just like circle things? I want that.
I think, especially talking about accessibility, I feel like even though it's not terribly often used today, and there's some pretty bad examples, I think that actually camera-based input is going to be the next thing. I think that for people that are intimidated by whether it be the square or the controller, that you give them some natural gestures that they can just, they don't have to really necessarily be doing anything, and they can still be participating, and that's when we're really going to see just a huge wave of development when you get everybody being able to play without having the skills that one associates with gaming that we do today.
Yeah, so there's a company here in Austin, Quantum Interface. They're dealing with predictive gestural movements and predictive input. So basically, measuring your eyes and measuring your gestures and being able to teach yourself, like Minority Report, the idea of being able to have that dexterity of moving things around, it's foreign to us until we start using it, and then you build that dexterity. There's an Epoch EEG sensor that allows you to put input in your head. You have 6 axes of input. You can move a box around, rotate it, activate things, hook it to our Arduino, and drive a little robot around to a headset. Put that in VR, and we got the future.
All right, Clive, real fast, you're the last
on
one.
a hoverboard.
Something that I really appreciated was music. So then making like Guitar Hero was awesome. And then when I found out they were making Rocksmith, we could actually do the real guitar. I thought that was super cool. And I don't know how to play guitar. I'm a drummer. So I'm hoping later in the future they do one with real drums. Something that would be really sweet.
That would be really cool.
So real fast, my last thought on this question is my thought on this statement, by the way, is this: where I see the future of gaming is where gaming is stopped looking like gaming. Where gaming is, all of you are right. Right now, movies are looked at, when you talk about making a film, you are talking about making various things. Well, what I'm waiting for is gaming to finally be treated as the thing it is: a media, not a style. You are telling, because we've got Gone Home, we've got Borderlands 2, we've got Broforce, and then we've got like Bioshock. We've got all these different games. We have games that treat bipolarism. We've got games to help treat PTSD. I try to keep reversing the letters. I'm sorry. We have games that teach
dyslexia.
People... Dyslexia. It's a habit. And there's games that help treat that. I've played a couple of them. Games teach you actually how to play real music. Historical games. All that. Civilization being one of the oldest games for that. And that's that's where I see the future of gaming. The other last thing I see for the future of gaming is our improved media coverage. I am waiting for the Oscars, not the VGA, the real version, a real award show that is not based off of popular opinion.
Right? Who would watch X-Play if it was still on? Right? Straight up.
Sometimes.
I love like watching the reruns. I'm like, I'll watch God of War 2.
But we're going to close up real fast. But here is what we're going to remind you of. Xbox 360.
That's what gaming system. Just Cause 2 on right there.
You can play Just Cause 2 on this. You can also play a couple Katamari games on this.
Not PS3, but still something better.
It's still a system. But remember, donate during this hour. Get some. You will be put in for a drawing for this. The money, remember, all the money goes to Operation
Supply Drop,
and that helps
us soldiers.
Well, yeah, you were not all soldiers.
No.
Soldiers here and overseas, disabled soldiers, our NATO allies. Give them a little bit of fun where there is none.
It really is the coolest thing to get in a situation like that. It's just absolutely amazing and to feel welcomed like that.
If you guys also guys like this segment we did and you would like to see more of this segment we did, let us know. Me, Chris M at Fanboy TV, Gavin at Fanboy TV. Let us know if you like to see this as a actual show. We are looking to do more content, and this could easily be part of it. So again, this going through my thing. Go ahead.
Nathan,
Darius,
Ned,
Courtney,
Finn,
Clyde,
Josh,
and I was of course the notorious Pocky D. Signing off because if Gavin starts dancing anymore, I'm going to start shooting him with a Nerf gun. Go to Gavin.
You totally missed our epic dancing earlier, man. He was all just going to town. So welcome back to the Fanboy TV 8-Bit Salute for Operation Supply Drop.
Yep.
That was our epic video game roundtable. It was quite hilarious. So we will be giving away the 360 next hour. We're going to announce our winner.
Yep.
So you still have time to get in your donations. There's a link above him. Follow that. Make a donation.
Right here.
And remember, if we reach 500, he's going to eat a dead bug.
Yes.
We won't repeat with it if we manage to make 1,000. What's going to happen?
We'll
But
keep it low. But if we do make it, then we'll talk
if
about
we
that.
do make it, you're going to see him swallow something warm and gross.
Like I said, that was like that can be a lot of things, Gavin.
Well, we're going to let their minds scintillate.
That's a lot of things.
So they talked about Operation Supply Drop and what they did over there. It's a fantastic organization. We have lots of fun. But we're going to take a quick break because when we come back, we're going to have our final LARPing segment with Zip Pop Goblin Games. This fool's going to get a high elf, so someone's going to get zombified, so it'll be lots of fun. No, you're getting we already had that conversation. He's freaking out because he doesn't want to be a high elf. He doesn't understand what a noble and an elegant race high elves are and how badass they are.
Then I'll be high elf.
No, that's going to be on Courtney. You're getting zombified. And he was like, no, I got to shave. No, they're not going to shave you. Michelle knows what she's doing. Come here, Michelle.
I got a degree in this.
She does. Michelle is awesome. You're being treated by a professional. You have no idea how awesome this woman is.
You don't have to shave your beard or anything.
All right, let's do this thing.
All right, so that's coming up next. The final LARPing segment. Michelle's turning him into a zombie, and someone's turning Courtney into something high elfish. You want to come talk about what you're going to do to her real quick?
here.
Okay, so what are you going to be doing to Courtney?
I'm going to make Courtney look more like a high elf today.
Well, the pointy ears and everything?
Aside from the pointy ears, I can't do any
lots,
of that.
lots of glitter.
Lots of glitter, lots of contouring, just elegance.
So he does need a little bit of glitter, just so you know.
No. Just a
And
little
big red
red
lips?
sparkle.
No.
I love
I
you.
have red lipstick.
Oh, look, this isn't the Lost Boys. This isn't Twilight. He doesn't have to sparkle.
You lucked out, mofo.
Thank you. I actually am going to go with her. She's my new best friend.
All right, so don't go anywhere. Follow the link, donate. We'll be announcing the winner for this 360, and we have Eddie Rotten Zombie Pod Life podcast packs and some more things to give away the rest of the night. So everyone that donates is in the pool. Stay tuned. We'll be back right after this.
Oh.